Today's podcast is sponsored by Logos Bible Software. Logos is a premier Bible study tool, and it not only powers our sermons and our study, but it also powers this podcast.
Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's up, baby?
What's up?
I'm back.
You know what? You are back, finally.
And I'm not going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah, it's. I know that, I'm sure your family is more overjoyed than the rest of us are.
I don't think they'll notice.
So wait, are you trying to say that when you are here,
I'm usually
you're
smoking.
not really
I'm
present?
smoking in the garage.
Okay, you know what? There's truth to that. I've gone over to your house, and you do have like a little makeshift desk.
No, the people, the family's excited. Man, just got back from New Zealand. GraceNet Church, Acts 29, New Zealand. Jim Renahan, the original gangster Reformed Baptist guy.
OG!
We got James White.
Yep. Really, dude?
Okay, well, that's my wife texting me.
I know, but you can't turn your notifications
now
off?
It's off. It's off
You
now.
can't, at least turn the
I
sound
didn't
off?
think about it, and now
I
just
think it's
thought
good
about
that
it.
you're answering your wife, but you can at least, you talk about me playing on my phone. You talk about all these things.
Yeah, because you always do it like you're doing right now. All right,
What
so
did you talk about?
here's the thing. The Acts 29, conference in New Zealand. Last year, I went and preached there. It was great. This year, it was a lot of fun. It was even more fun. I think it was bigger. We had people from all kinds of churches, but it was kind of this blending of worlds, right? We had the Reformed Baptists, and we had A29, which is very diverse, and it all worked out really well. And what's cool is that, you have Dr. Jim Renahan, who is a scholar and a seminary professor and dean. I love this guy, and I love what he does. I respect him so much, and he's kind of got his own old school Reformed Baptist vibe going. But I found him to be very pleasant. We had a lot of fun, and it was a good time. And then you have Dr. James White.
Yeah.
Now he is. Most of you know who he is. He's a Reformed Baptist, but he's an apologist, a professional apologist. And there's not a lot of professional vocational apologists, and even less really good ones. And James is one of the good ones. He's a language scholar. He's very, very brilliant, but he's also a lot of fun to hang out with. I didn't know, because I kind of wondered, are these guys going to be really stiff? And if I want to bust chops and whatever.
And would they really want to hang out with someone like us?
Right,
like
for
you?
real.
You know
honestly,
what I mean? That is
because we are
kind of a concern.
not. I don't know. We're just a little different, and
we're a lot different. We kind of hear that often from
Yeah.
people, like, you guys don't really fit the mold.
yeah,
That of Reformed Baptist or Southern Baptist.
yeah, a little different, and definitely a little bit looser, not morally or spiritually, but just maybe culturally or personality.
And we like to have fun.
We definitely like to have fun. So I wasn't sure. So the first time I'm meeting these guys, it's we're having dinner.
Yeah.
And so James White sits down right by me, and I restrained myself. I waited about 90 seconds before I started busting his chops and giving him a hard time.
I want to say congratulations. That takes a lot of discipline.
Fruit of the
for you.
Spirit, son, self-control.
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 That is pretty good for you.
So I waited, and then he was just right back at me with it. And so we hit it off. I can genuinely say I consider both of those men to be friends now.
Awesome.
And I'm looking forward to next year.
But they're not like best. They're not like,
Jim, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I think there's room for varying degrees of best friends.
What do you mean there's room? There's no room.
Like treasures in heaven, varying degrees. It's like suffering in hell, varying degrees. Maybe it's like that.
But I don't understand how anyone could replace what you've got with Pat and I.
Because, well, first of all, nobody's going to complain in heaven if there are varying degrees of reward or closeness to Jesus. They're all going to be happy with where they're at, but there are varying degrees. And so you, as a friend of mine, shouldn't complain because it's going to be awesome, whether or not you are as close to me as Jim and James.
No, I'm just saying.
Jim,
Pat
James,
and I, I feel like we should be closer to you than any of these other people.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Not just proximity, but, we actually genuinely love each other. I don't think James White and Jim Renahan genuinely like knows you well enough to say,
You would be surprised. You would be surprised.
How open were you with them?
I was pretty open.
Have they seen your birthmark?
I wasn't that open.
Okay, well,
okay,
then.
all right.
All right, then. So there are some of us that are a lot more open.
Yeah.
We're a lot closer than. So,
you're definitely closer.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you.
All right.
So,
I'm correct. I'm correct now.
No,
I'm okay. We're good.
No, you've been corrected. Not that you're correct.
No, I'm correct because you corrected me. That's what I'm saying.
Good. Perfect.
We're good.
As long as you know that you're corrected, that, hey, all right, so those gyms out there, you got nothing.
Well, it's James and Jim.
It's James and Jim. James and Jim, JJ.
JJ?
You got nothing on PJ.
You got to know your... Wait, what?
Pat and Jim.
Yeah, I don't know.
We closer. Closer to you than the JJs.
I'm just saying, show them respect.
I'm showing them respect, and I'm also I'm telling them to step off.
And you're going to be meeting Jim Renahan next year.
What?
I'll try not to laugh. Spurgeon would say, "You are a man called to preach. You've got the barrel chest and the lung capacity to preach." Yeah, they're already asking if Jimmy and I will go in next year.
Can we talk about this?
I'm talking about it.
Are you sure we can talk about this?
He said it's a done thing. It's official.
Michael said it was cool.
It was official.
All right, as long as Michael, I'm sorry if he was not.
No, man, I was there when he literally.
I'm just saying we have a lot of listeners there, and if it's
Michael
not official,
Michael Beck literally hammered the gavel on his desk and said, "It's happening next year. Next year, Jimmy and I are going to be there with Jim Renahan preaching New Zealand. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be awesome.
And we just got approval from the elders to go.
And we got approval from the elders. Well, first we got approval from our wives.
Oh, wait. Was that?
Yeah, you're supposed to talk.
Oh, she'll be fine.
Oh, my gosh. I really
She's
hope
cool.
you talk to Jen first. I'm about to say, like, I was about to stop the recording and be like,
no,
dude, have
fine.
you talked to Jen?
She'll be cool.
So, yeah. So, we'll see what we got going on down under. We also got some other opportunities possible.
Yep.
Possibilities.
Good things
we've
happening.
been, working through. And so, yeah, we're really excited for it. And
man, it was
it'll be
so good.
such an honor, though.
But, all right, listen, I know we got something to talk about. We've been putting it off for a long time. We've been wanting to talk about it, and then we're like, we'll get to it later, Mm-hmm. But
it's Joe's favorite. Well,
it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
It might be one of my favorite things.
It is Joe's favorite thing to do. So
are we going to talk about Trump?
Oh my gosh, no, we're not.
He's president. Oh man, and guess who helped with that? Fofo, right over there.
I did not help with that.
You were on the mailing list.
I did not help.
You voted for him in the primary.
I did not. No, my email did. I did.
Yeah,
not.
exactly. Yeah.
For those that don't know,
Jimmy
Joe
is on the Trump team.
Continually, even though I block it, even though I unsubscribe, he continually resubscribes my church email.
That's slander, dude.
No,
You're
that's
accusing
true.
me of things that.
Are you okay? You tell me it's not true.
What?
Have you or have you not been subscribing me or have subscribed me to Trump's email or Trump's donor supporter list or the RNC's donor supporter list?
Okay, wait. What was the question? Because that was too long.
The question is, have you been subscribing my church email to things that I have not audibly approved of?
I don't have a recollection of.
Okay, Clinton.
Whether or not
come on
I
now. You can't say that. You can't.
It depends on what is. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, Trump's president.
Yep.
I told you fools. Nobody believed me. I said Trump's going to be the president because I know my people. I know how these Americans roll. And I said from the beginning, he will be president because people are going to gamble on a crazy man rather than go with the establishment. And they did. And now.
And I'm going to vouch for Joe on this. About 7-8 months ago, we're sitting down, we're talking about things before the primaries had ended. This is still why, like, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz,
better candidates,
and Bush were still all, yeah, I know, but they were all still part of it, right? They're all still part of it. And Joe turns to me and he goes, "All right, fool, Trump's going to be president." I go, "Shut up. No, he's not. Trump's not going to be president." Joe said, "He's going to be president." Now, here's what the part that Joe was wrong on. Joe thought it was going to come down to Bernie Sanders and Trump. But still, nonetheless, he called it. I was impressed, Joe. You've been saying this whole time he had it. I didn't believe you. No one else believed you. I think you actually.
Well, I don't know if that's fair. I mean, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I gambled, but I think I have some rewards
You have
coming
some
my
things
way.
coming your
I have
way.
some things coming my way as a result of Trump being the president.
All right, so we've put off our topic.
Right, because we keep we want to talk about it, and then it's like, oh, we're even putting it off on this
put it
episode.
off on the episode. That
We're
we're
like
gonna talk
20
about
minutes
it.
in, and we haven't even gotten
What
to
are we
it.
talking about?
Procrastination.
Procrastination.
Yeah.
So, Joe, when you think of procrastination, how would you how would you define that in a very general sense?
Okay. Procrastination is the comfortable way of managing your responsibilities. That's how I would define it.
Okay, you would define it that way because you
Yeah, that's
live
good.
your life
What?
in the procrastination lane.
No.
How could you say comfortably? When you, define comfortably.
Okay,
Comfortably out here just say being-
I'll redefine it. I'll redefine it. Procrastination, superior time management. Boom.
Superior time.
Oh, I get it done in the 11th
in
hour.
the 11th hour. All right.
No, listen, honestly, I was a guy for years who was a very happy and proud procrastinator. And I remember in college in particular, that's where it was like hitting its zenith, right? I would procrastinate, I would wait, and I would get, and they're like, why are you waiting so long? You're like, I got a test or whatever. And then I would get an A on the paper or the test, and I'd be like, see, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because I'm still getting it done. And people would tell me it was wrong, and I would argue with them, and no one could convince me that there was a real problem with procrastination until I read Jonathan Edwards' treatise called Procrastination, The Sin and Folly of Depending on Future Time.
Give us a synopsis. Because I've not read that, so this is...
Yeah, don't read that. Okay. Don't read that if you're a procrastinator. I mean, you should read it because...
You should read it, but it's going to...
Edwards basically slapped me upside the head with the Bible and said, look, when you procrastinate, when you put off your responsibilities that you know that you should be doing now, you are presuming upon God's future grace. You are assuming that God is giving you tomorrow. And therefore, you're putting off till tomorrow what you should do or could do today. It is...
So in a way, are you putting God to the test?
Yes.
When you word
very,
it that way? I've not read
Yep.
it, so I don't know. I'm just kind
Oh,
of
it's
throwing
so
things
good.
out.
We're going to link to it. You can probably find it online. I read it on paper in his book, but you can find, I'm sure you can find it online. Yeah, it is assuming that God has given us future time when in fact our days may be very, very short.
Yeah.
We don't know that we have tomorrow. God doesn't owe us tomorrow. He hasn't promised us tomorrow. We have the day that we are living in. And so, it is. And that was the first time I really had to check myself and say, like, no, of course, people do manage their time differently, and some people work a little better under pressure and all of that. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to arrange your time in different ways, but to truly procrastinate, to take the responsibilities that God has given you and to say, I'm not going to do it today. For what? I mean, the for what is important, right? Because as pastors, as elders, we have more than we can ever get done in one day.
Yeah.
Always. So you have to prioritize.
That's right.
And then get it done. But procrastination usually, in my experience, is putting off a responsibility that I have that I need to be doing today, but I put it off because I simply don't want to deal with it. It's not that I am trying to make the best use of my time. I'm playing fast and loose with the time that God has given me.
So then what does it kind of reflect about our heart then? Like when we procrastinate, what does that kind of reflect about our... you okay? You got it?
We're out of matches. This is not good.
We're out of matches.
All right, so what does it reveal about our hearts? When we
what does it
procrastinate?
reveal about our hearts?
Well, man, I think there are different levels. As I'm thinking about it, there's this idea that we almost feel like God owes us tomorrow. Oh, now look at you. You don't need a match.
Nope.
You're blowing smoke all over the place, and I go over here with a dead cigar. Great. I think it shows that we believe God owes us in some way. It may not be stated explicitly, but that's in there.
Yeah.
But I think it also shows when I procrastinate that I'm not taking seriously the good works that God has prepared beforehand for me to walk in.
So it's a lack of stewardship?
It's a lack of stewardship. It's a lack of faithfulness. It's a refusal to acknowledge that God has given us something today that we need to deal with. So instead we put it off because I want to watch, that TV show. Yeah. And again,
so I think that's an important distinction. There's something different than some people being providentially hindered.
Of course.
Like if you've got tasks and you've got assignments and you've got things that have to be done that day, and yet something more pressing comes up.
Yes.
some family emergency, something going on in the church, something as far as, shepherding and caring for those around you comes up, you're providentially hindered. You can't get it done. But that's different than wanting to, for us, this is something, we've discussed before that I've sometimes felt convicted of, playing cards.
Right.
Right? Or Netflixing. Is that a word? Netflixing? Can you say that?
And chill.
No,
Netflix and chill.
Can you say Netflixing? Is that a thing?
Netflix and chill. That's the expression.
All right. So instead of doing those things.
What things?
Playing cards.
Netflix and chill.
So leisure, recreation.
You got to say Netflix and chill.
Why?
Go ahead.
No,
just
Netflixing.
say it. No, say Netflix and chill.
I know why you want me to say it.
No, you don't.
Say it. I do know why.
Just say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
That's a thing.
No.
All the kids are doing it.
Yeah, but I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not.
You should be. You're married. You should be Netflixing and chilling every night.
No, we just chill.
You just do the chilling. You forego the Netflixing. I go straight for the chilling.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's good. It's in marriage. You're supposed to do that. No, I think that, when it comes down to it, when we procrastinate, we are disengaging from God and from the good things, the good gifts, the good responsibilities that God gives us. Like, we tend to think about it in terms of like, oh, I've got this job or this assignment or this project, and we procrastinate.
Yeah.
Okay. But we do it with our kids. I'll play with them. I'll play with them later. They want to play with me now. I'll play with them later. My wife wants me to listen to her talk, and she's going to tell me the story that takes way too long, and she's going to give me too many details that are completely irrelevant. You know what? I'll listen to her later.
Wow. So it's not only putting off those tasks, but it's also putting off others.
Yeah. It's a lack of love.
Wow.
It's a lack of interest.
I didn't even hit it at that level.
That's why you need to read Edwards.
Oh,
Edwards will make you feel like a scumbag.
I need to now because you just said that I'm totally convicted over because I'm totally guilty of putting things off as far as spending time with my kids. Like I've been convicted lately, and this is something. Well, thanks to you and Pat. Thanks, guys. Because you and Pat do a great job of spending time with your kids one-on-one. Well, you have your daddy dates and all that stuff, and I've been convicted. I've been thinking to myself, I need to start doing that. I'll start next week.
Well, also, like your kids are young, they're really young.
Yeah, but I can still take them to a coffee shop or
the
an
older
ice cream
two
shop
would get it. The older two would get it.
and at least we can go color, or we can go do something.
Yeah.
But
it's easy to put it off. It's easy to just kind of make excuses,
exactly.
and I will get to it, or I'm tired when we don't know if we have tomorrow. We really don't know. Like, this could be the last podcast. I mean, God forbid. I know, like, there would be a great rift in the country if this podcast evaporated. That would cause a lot of hurt.
Even more so than Trump being elected.
Well, obviously, because
we're kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
We're internationally a big deal. We go to New Zealand.
There's Trump, and then there's Doc and Devo.
Yeah. See, there's Trump. And then there's Doc and Devo.
Now, Jimmy is raising his left hand above his right hand.
I always forget that people can't see us.
He's showing that Doc and Devo is highly exalted above Trump.
This is why we got to start doing video stuff. We've been procrastinating that one too.
Okay, so we're making some arguments here, but what about Bible? We're making these arguments, and we're saying like, hey, don't procrastinate. It's a bad idea. What about the Bible? Does the Bible say anything about this? Are there any scriptures that you can think of that relate to this? I know we don't have notes. We decided like 5 minutes ago we're going to finally do
it. I mean, one of the things I think about is Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. And so there's two parts there that I really want to hit on. One is that work heartily. Yeah. And the second part is who we're doing it for.
Right.
And so for me, that's something that's always playing in the back of my mind is as I'm going through my day, whether I'm quote unquote on church business time, or I'm quote unquote at the factory, or any of these things, or even now as you talk about it at home.
Yeah.
Am I working heartily? Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean like I'm exhausted,
right?
But does that mean I'm fully engaged in what I am doing at this time?
There's an expression for that, like half.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Like giving half your effort.
That's right.
is the kind way to say
exactly. And so, am I doing everything I can to, and now here comes the second part, honor God with the time that's been given me.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
What about for you? Is there a passage that kind of comes to mind?
There's a couple. One that surprised me when I started thinking about this was a verse that I actually think about a lot, but I wasn't applying it to procrastination. It's Ephesians 5, verse 15. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Making the best use of your time. Not just using your time, not just getting things done, but making the best use of your time. In any given day, in any given week, in any given conversation, I have the opportunity, like, I got to make the best of this. Is this a time where I'm supposed to be recreating and resting? Or is this a time where I'm supposed to be pressing in and doing something hard? Do I need to press this person with the gospel? Like, what is the best use of my time? And it's different with every situation.
That's right.
But asking that question for me is really important. Not, the days are evil, time is short, our lives can be cut down quickly. God has not promised us tomorrow. So how do I make the best use of my time today? No, so like today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a long day. I don't get home till 10 or after. Yeah. Every other night I'm home for dinner, unless I'm traveling, which I'm not doing anymore. I'm home for dinner, and so this night I'm not. So it's not an issue about whether or not I'm going to make the best time with my kids tonight because I'm not there. But how do I make the best time with my meetings all day Wednesday? Elders meeting, discipleship meetings, or hanging out here with you doing this podcast. Like, what is the best time that I can put forth? I know you're about to make a joke about me not going to my discipleship group this
Yes, I was.
I saw your face. I couldn't go. I could not go. That's called a providential hindrance.
I'm sorry.
I got pastoral duties sometimes that get in the way.
I made a face at Joe because I filled in for him. I showed up and they're all like, I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, oh, we have a discipleship group. I'm like, oh, where's Joe? He's like, can you fill in? I was like, all right, yeah, cool.
I'm glad you did, dude. I'm glad you did. Those fools needed you there. No. Those are my buddies, man. I love those guys. And then there are all those, honestly, we don't want to think about it this way because we don't like to think of ourselves as gross sluggards. But all of those proverbs, dude, all of those proverbs talk about the sluggard, the dude that wastes time, that just doesn't take responsibility for himself. That is dangerous.
Yes.
Spiritually, it's dangerous in your life. It's dangerous in your relationships. So those are the things that I tend to think about when it comes to procrastination.
So now, what are your I guess, if you want to say, I don't know, tips? Like, what has kind of helped you to avoid? What are your pro tips to avoid procrastination? How do you kind of, because you've got a very full schedule, Joe. Even when you're not speaking, you've got a lot of things going on. Not just your sermons, but you've got your pastoral care, you've got your meetings, you've got your family obligations.
I got my shows to watch. I got my cards to play. I got my cigars to smoke.
How do you go through your day? Okay,
now, and everybody here knows that I do procrastinate. Yeah. And I don't see it.
We all do.
Okay, but I'm really good at it.
Excel at
that's why I can give the pro tips here. Mm-hmm. I would say that what I challenge myself with, and this is important to me on a couple of different levels. The answer is to not stop procrastinating. I think that's how we tend to think about things. Hey, don't procrastinate. Okay, is your problem procrastinating?
Yeah, we start to beat ourselves up.
Are you procrastinating, dude?
Stop it.
Don't do it anymore. Don't do that. Well, that's okay, dummy. That's
if I could have not done it, I would have not done it already.
The way to stop procrastinating, I believe, and Edwards makes this point, is to live with a sense that today could be our very last day. You live now. This is nothing new. We've been people talk about if you live every day as if it's your last, what will you do? If this is your last goodbye to your wife. Well, you're going to kiss her, aren't you? You're going to embrace her, and you're going to lay that kiss on good. Yeah. It's not going to be a little, man, you're going to get out, man. You're going to like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah,
you're going to get
10 seconds?
Well, I'm just saying that's the minimal.
Minimal is 10 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
What's your maximum?
Well, before we were married, it kind of went on for a while sometimes. We wound up kissing a little too long. No. We had to, in fact, Jen and I, we were
there
dating.
There need to be room for that Holy Spirit.
I know. Jen and I, we were dating. We had a very pure relationship. Praise the Lord. And I give credit to God and Jen for that because I probably would have blown that real quick. We had a very pure relationship, but we wound up kissing too much. And after a while, we had to say, you know what? No more kissing. Because a kiss... Hey, okay, you know that movie, The Bodyguard? You've got to know that movie.
Well, hold on. Is that the one with Whitney Houston?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Because we had a conversation. Oh, no, you weren't part of that conversation. Never mind.
So Jen and I rented The Bodyguard, and I have no idea what happened because we kissed the whole time.
Here's all that happened. Whitney sang a song.
Okay.
And she went, and
yeah, I know that one.
That's all. That's all.
We'll always love you. Yeah, I know that song. That's it.
That's it. That's all that happened.
But I see him carrying her in the poster.
Yeah, but that's all.
Did she get shot?
That. Something like that. I don't remember.
I don't know because I was kissing my girlfriend. I didn't see any of it, and we both agreed. We're like, all right, you know what? We're gonna stop kissing, and we didn't kiss for like a year.
I'm actually really surprised.
No,
I'm surprised at your guys'
we were like, no, we never did anything. I didn't touch her inappropriately. We had a good relationship, healthy, but those lips were enticing. She has those pouty lips.
I've never stared at your wife's.
Oh well,
lips.
don't because her lips are pouty and they're pretty awesome. What I'm saying is that
I think Kirk Cameron like.
Oh, I know. Hey, bro, stand back.
I can't get past.
Stand down.
I can't get past that every time.
Kirk is a godly man who's married. I'm sure there's no real issue there. But,
but
I know you do like her posts a lot. So what were we talking about?
Your pro tips, but then you were talking about living as if it's your last.
Yeah, living each day as if it's your last. So, you're going to kiss your wife, you're going to play with your kids, you're going to listen, you're going to engage. The work that God has given you to do, you're going to actually take it seriously because you know that work, whether it's laundry or billing people at the office or whatever it is, or calling that client that isn't doing his job, you're going to do your best because you don't work for them, you work for the Lord.
That's right.
And so if today's your last day, you want to glorify and enjoy God in every single thing that he's given you to do. So the answer is not to stop procrastinating, but live like today is your last. It is a refusal to waste time in sin and folly.
So I think along with that then comes an intentionality then. Intentionally planning out as best as possible what your day or your week is
I don't like where this is going now. This is veering into legalistic territory, I think.
Legalistic. Joe thinks it's legalistic because he can't do it.
I can do it. No, you can't. I can do a calendar.
No, you can't.
I've got a calendar. It's all calendared up.
All right. First of all, now I know it's not true.
It is too.
No, it is not true. It is not true. You know why I know that?
How do you know?
Because after the elders meeting, when you looked over to one of the pastors and said, hey, so tomorrow we're meeting again, right? And
I just didn't look at my calendar. It's all calendared up. I didn't open up my calendar.
All I'm saying, even if you opened up your calendar, you're not really good at the calendar.
I'm not good at it, but I do it. Yeah.
So there's
recognize.
No, you're not good at it.
No, I know. I'm agreeing, but I do it.
No, you're not. Well, okay.
A 2-year-old can go to the skate park and go down a
that's what I'm
ramp.
trying to say is that just because you're not good at that, you have to have some level of competency when it comes to this. It doesn't count that you opened up your app once every 4 months.
It's the thought that counts. That's what I was taught.
No.
Is that about presents or is that about everything?
No, just presents.
Oh, okay.
That's just about presents. No,
that's a really good. That's a really good point. Like, and you're one of those guys that is on that. Pastor Brian is one of those guys that's on that. The guys that I know, and I've mentioned this before, the successful guys, the guys that get things done, the guys whose lives are fruitful and effective, they have a calendar.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's one of those things that it can become at times legalistic. You're right, and I can become very rigid. I mean, you can ask Michelle, right? Like, there'll be times where maybe a fight's the right word, but it's a conflict because if there's something not on my calendar and it gets added at the last minute, I start to kind of get really tense, and I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, well, I don't know how to plan my life right now, Michelle, and I'll say that. Even recently, I don't know how to plan. I don't know how to plan my day. I don't know how to plan my weekend because I don't know what's going on right now. And if I don't know, I start to get really flustered, which also reveals something about my controlling heart. That I'd rather be in control than God being sovereign over all things.
You'd rather God be your man, and you'd rather be God.
That's kind of what happens.
No, I know. We all do that. We all do that.
It reflects. That's definitely my heart in that. But I need to be intentional, and part of it, a big reason behind it, is because left to my own devices, I am lazy. Left to myself, and we've talked about this, and we've joked about it. If I'm on vacation, I do nothing. And
that's vacation. You're not supposed to do nothing.
I to the point where I don't do.
You don't bathe?
Maybe after I jump in the water.
You don't need to if you're in the water. That counts.
That's sea. You gotta,
Ocean.
Yeah, but you got the salt. You got to salt. My
It's
hair.
it's good for your skin.
But I'm just saying, like, it left to myself, I become very lazy, and I don't do anything, whether it's at the house, or Michelle and I are out and about. Even when we went on our vacation
To Italy and London.
I had to be very intentional on that because I know myself. I would rather be like, well, let's just hang out here and I'll sleep. But
Right.
I knew for Michelle, that's not for me. Joe knows my perfect vacation is.
Oh, I know what it is. Let me say what it is. Jimmy's.
Well, hold on.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. You be quiet over there.
I want you to edit
Jimmy's,
it, though.
Jimmy's perfect vacation. I'm not going to edit. Justin J. Bond can edit. Jimmy's perfect vacation is him stripping down to his spandex.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop.
I said spandex.
Stop it. No, you can't say those things.
So he's going to strip off his clothes except for his spandex, and then he'll hike up his spandex.
Okay, I don't
to the
want a
high
tan
thigh.
line. I don't
to the
want-
high, hey, let me tell the story. He hikes it up to his high thigh, and he sits in the sun and bakes. That's your vacation.
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, there you go. I have the same vacation, but I'm indoors. That's the only difference. I don't want to go out in the sun.
You have spandex and you hike them up.
Pretty much.
So, anyways,
I have boxing shorts, old boxing shorts.
that is my perfect vacation. And you know what? Just set the record straight.
Yeah.
It's because of the tan line.
Whatever you want, man.
I'm just
Tan line
saying.
Jimmy. That's my hashtag. Tan line Jimmy.
I'm just saying, we're a little too open and honest on our podcast.
That's why people.
No, I just
like
say
us.
we're a little
That's
too
why we
open.
get tens of thousands of downloads all the time. Like, because people like the real. They like the real,
all right. So now,
even if it's kind of weird, even if it's kind of gross.
I kind of want to. I do want to talk. I want to give some practical tips that have helped me being intentional. But as far as what are some tips as far as Bible study and getting in the Word? What is one of those things that you've used that's kind of helped you get more done
when
in
it comes
your
to
sermon prep, when it comes to
stuff.
your study, when it comes to getting ready for Bible studies, all that stuff?
Well, it's hard because it's like, where do you start? Like a lot of people when they look at their devotions, they're like, I don't even know where to start. Like they're like, I open the Bible, they do the drop and flop, and then they wind up reading like Deuteronomy about burying your poop outside the camp, and they're like, what am I supposed to get out of this? So that's the thing. Deuteronomy.
Oh, stop!
What?
Yeah.
I just said it. Deuteronomy.
You stop! I've never actually heard someone say it.
So, one of the things that you can do is you can use Logos Bible software. Logos Bible software. What you can do with Logos is you can go in and you can open it up and you can do like a topic search or a passage. You can use the passage guide, the topic guide. Here's the thing: you plug it in, and then it brings up thousands of resources, hundreds of resources. It depends on what package you have, but it opens up all of these resources that relate to that topic or that passage, so that you have everything that you need right there to get in some serious study, devotional time, quiet time with the Lord. It's really good. I use it all the time, every day. Well, maybe not every day. Friday, I don't usually do anything. I'm just kind of chilling, but I use it every other day of the week. It is a big help to us, and we love that they're a sponsor of the show. Jimmy and I use it. Pat uses it. My wife uses it. I don't know if anybody else uses it.
Michelle uses it.
Michelle uses it. Yep. So, we're all down with Logos, and the reason is because it's the best.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, the reason I use Apple computer, the reason we all use Apple is because it's a better computer.
People call us fanboys for that, just so you know.
But they can call us fanboys. That's okay, because they're playing with those janky Windows machines that can't get anything done. It takes 10 steps to do one simple thing.
Aren't you going to Windows next, though?
No.
Yes, we had an elder meeting.
And Brian was giving me a hard time because I was complaining about some aspects of the new MacBook Pro, but that's a different issue. All I'm saying is Logos is a premier.
Yes.
And I would argue, I think it's the best option.
I agree.
For people out there if they're looking for Bible software. I've been using it for years. Jimmy's been using it for years, and we love it. The thing is, though, if you go to logos.com/docanddevo, got to go there, logos.com/docanddevo. That means they will see that you listen to our podcast.
And
if you go there, you can buy Logos. You can buy whatever platform you want. But for Logos users, you get a freebie. Just because you're going through our show. What's the freebie?
Freebie is you get Charles...
Chuck Swindoll.
What?
What? What? What's wrong with Chuck Swindoll?
I'm just saying you caught me off guard.
Chuck Swindoll.
You get Spurgeon's commentary.
Oh, Spurgeon. That's way better.
On Philippians.
The Book of Joy, yo.
That's it.
That's good.
So you use the promo code DocandDevo7.
Doc, you're going to get Spurgeon's commentary on Philippians. Seriously. You didn't know. Listen, I know you didn't know Spurgeon. You thought Spurgeon just had commentaries on the Psalms. But you were wrong.
You were wrong, sir.
Actually, Spurgeon wrote on all of the Bible. But get it on Philippians, and that's going to be a great benefit for you. So, Jimmy, back to procrastination. We've put it off long enough.
Yep. Even on our show on procrastination, we procrastinate.
We had it listed before we started.
It really was one of our first things. We're like, we'll talk about this. We're good at this, or this is an easy one for us to kind of talk about.
All right. So before we get before we give some pro tips, and we shouldn't say pro tips because we're not pros.
No,
you are much better than I am.
I ain't no pro.
For you to say that you're naturally lazy, or that you are inclined to laziness, baffles my mind because you are so hardworking, you're so organized, you get it all done. But I think that is a testimony to the fruit of the Spirit, self-control, this spirit of discipline that God has given us, that you actually know your weakness and you make the most of your time in order to bless your family and honor the Lord. And I know that sometimes it probably falls apart, but you are really an encouragement to me and to other people when we see you getting it done as well as you do. One of the aspects that we've talked about here is making the most of your time because the days are short, not just evil. The days are short. This could be your last day. I just wanted to read a couple of things that Edward said.
Yep, go for it.
Edward said, "We have
You have my permission."
Oh, thank you.
You're
permission granted. "We have good reason not to depend on another day, but we have no reason to conclude that we shall not live another day." So there are two extremes here, right? You on the one hand, you don't know if you have tomorrow, so work today as if it could be your last, but you can't conclude absolutely that you don't have tomorrow. So here's what he says. "We should live every day as conscientiously and as wholly as if we knew it were our last. We should be careful every day to avoid all sin, as if we knew that night our soul should be required of us. We should be careful to do every duty which God requires of us. But in many other respects, we are not obliged to behave ourselves as though we concluded that we should not live another day. If we had reason to conclude that we should not live another day, some things would not be our duty, which are now our duty." So it's not super simple. If you really live as if today is my last day, then you're not going to bother with doing the laundry.
Yeah.
You're not going to bother with doing some of those things. So there's a balance here. You have to figure out, okay, this could be my last day. How do I make the most of this? I might have tomorrow, so let me be wise.
Yeah.
So there's not a simple list. There's not a cheat sheet, right, that you can go off of. But you've got to live thoughtfully, carefully, as Paul says, making the most of your time. That's really the key idea, making the most of your time, not wasting it, but being intentional. What are some things that you're doing, pro tip wise?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things that for me is key. The first thing is Sunday nights, I sit down and I've got my my calendar. I've got in this app I use called OmniFocus. I find it really useful. I've blogged about it in the past. We'll go ahead and link to those. It does cost some money, so definitely do the free trial first, and then go from there. But it is an investment. But personally, for me, I find OmniFocus extremely useful. You could use something else, use reminders, use whatever you got to use. But so at Sunday nights, I go and I look at my calendar. And I look and I see what's going on that week, and I just sit there and I go through and I say what needs to get done this week. Do I need to prioritize? What needs to come first? And so that's what I do Sunday nights. And then actually every morning as well, as I'm after I've done my devotions, I will look at my calendar for the day and I will go through my OmniFocus, my tasks, and I'll prioritize and say, these are the things that have to get done today, and these are the things that I must send out today. And I do that every day. Every single day of the week, I'm doing that. So even if it's on the weekend, I look at my schedule, and even though I got nothing going on that day, I'll just say, okay, I need to make sure I schedule things like my quiet time. I schedule those things, because if I don't, then I don't do it. I have to schedule everything that I do. I'll schedule things like date night. I'll schedule things like spending time with my kids, or if I'm going to take my kids to the park, and all those things. I need to, in the morning, kind of look at that. So that's kind of, a very broad brushstroke on how I do it. And I'm very regimental about it.
Regimental. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Because I have to be intentional. I have to know in the morning, what am I going to get done today? And so the other part of it is, and I think at some point we're going to have this. I'm still working on it to try to make something that is going to be more user friendly for you guys. But years ago, I almost think 10 years ago, my friend, Dave DeYoung, lives up in Canada on Vancouver Island.
How do you spell that name?
The last name?
Yeah.
Capital D.
Yep.
E. Capital J.
No, wait. That's not DeYoung. That's DeJong.
No, but you pronounce it DeYoung.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
I've been looking at his name. It's
my gosh.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
Okay, this
Dave.
is a guy that changed it the way it sounds because he's embarrassed because his name is DeJong.
No, it's DeYoung.
Dave DeJong.
DeYoung.
Okay,
so
go
capital
ahead.
D, E, capital J, O, N, G.
Jong. Jong. Go ahead.
Okay, stop it. You were setting me up just so you could do that. Just so you could do that.
Nope. Just came out.
And Dave's one of these guys that is really administratively minded, is someone that gets things done. And so when I was starting off in ministry up in Canada, he sat down with me and he gave me this spreadsheet, this calendar for the week. And he broke off each day into 3 sections. And so he would have me map out, what am I doing during the week? What meetings are happening? What administrative tasks am I going to do during the week? So, I'd have from this time to this time, I'm doing emails. From this time to this time, I'm preparing for the Bible study that I'm having at this meeting on Thursday, or this meeting with all the leaders, or anything like that. So that's something that I find that I do probably every 6 months, is I go through that calendar and I redo that calendar. And I break my weeks off in all the recurring events. And I put that on there just for a snapshot. And the rule of thumb, I guess, that Dave taught me was you broke your day into 3 quadrants. 2 out of those 3, you're working hard. 1 out of those 3 is free to be home with your family. Whether it's in the morning or in the evening or whatever you're going to do, this is the time you're going to be home. And that's when you're going to be present and not focusing on work at all. So that's kind of one of those things. I'm trying to put it together, something that's going to be easier for people to see. But yeah, I mean, these are, I guess, in a nutshell, kind of some practical things that I use. Is I use my calendar app. I use some sort of reminder task manager app. For me, it's OmniFocus. For others, it could be Google or reminders on your iPhone. And then also every 6 months, I put together my snapshot of what my recurring events and meetings and tasks are. And then again, every Sunday night, I'm looking throughout the week and saying, what do I have to get done? And every morning over coffee, I'm looking at the day and saying, what is it that has to be done today?
That's really helpful, dude, especially for guys like me that aren't wired in the same way that you are. I know you might say that your heart, like all of our hearts, tends towards laziness. But, and I don't want to just say that it's easy for you, but you put a lot of effort towards moving in that direction and being disciplined with your time. It's really
it's not easy. That's just it, though. Yeah. It's not easy. And it's something, though.
That's a cop-out. Oh, it's easy for Jimmy because Jimmy's that way.
Exactly.
It's not easy for me.
It wasn't easy at first. It's like when you're studying scripture or when you're praying, right? It's one of those things that, like, it's not easy until it becomes part of your culture.
Like learning to play the banjo.
What?
Yeah.
It's not easy at first, but over time, it becomes, all right, fine. There you
Same
go.
thing.
Like learning an instrument. It's
like learning to play the banjo.
It's difficult at first, but it becomes easier over time, and it's become something that becomes intuitive.
Yes, like one knuckle push-ups.
Oh my gosh, what is?
I'm just saying, like, that's hard at first.
Why are you bringing up all these things?
So, okay, but here's a question. Mm-hmm. So what's the potential danger, though, of being calendar focused? Because I'm listening to this, and there is no danger of me going to the other extreme.
No, we've tried.
But
we've tried.
What do you mean?
We've tried to help you get a bit more organized.
No. What I'm saying is, what is the danger? So procrastination is a problem.
Yeah.
But then for people that are really pushing forward into calendaring and scheduling and everything, what are some of the potential dangers there that they should guard against?
They lose sight of relationships. They lose sight of relationships, and they lose sight of who's in control. And that's the issue for me. Is one, if something changes in my schedule, like I mentioned, I don't know what to do with myself, and part of it is because I like to be in control of my life and control of my agenda, and there's a lack of flexibility to allow, I guess if that's the right word I want to use, allow God to interject something better, like spend time with your neighbor.
Right. So like in God's providence, there could be surprises.
That's right.
And you need to be able to flex. I know like I was really rigid with the way I did things. Not to say that I wasn't a procrastinator, but I was really rigid. And an old pastor of mine used to say, you need to be flexible. Now, he was so flexible, he had no form. He was overly flexible.
Yeah.
So I was kind of pushing back against that. But we do need to be able to adapt and adjust as
That's
God
right.
brings things into our lives that maybe
Absolutely.
don't fit into our schedule.
Absolutely.
Cool. So procrastination is an okay thing sometimes?
Okay thing sometimes?
Is it? I'm asking.
I would say, I think procrastination is okay and needed if you are an overly controlling person. So what I'm trying to really get to is relax. Is kind of what I'm saying.
So that's not
too.
procrastination then.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I think that we should say.
I guess I'm just saying if you are overly controlling and overly
You need to
rigid,
chill.
you need to chill at times, and you also need to learn that, like for me, I think I've mentioned it before, because I'm so wired this way. When I do go on vacation, I don't bring things with me.
Right.
I don't bring things with me because I will go and get right.
Because
back
you
in.
are hardwired to self-destruct,
Yes.
as Metallica says in their new single, with lots of bad words. Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
So you've got to literally disconnect, otherwise you will.
I literally have a different phone number
Right.
for.
I know you have to give it to me when you leave.
I have a different phone number for different places that I'm in, and I take the SIM card for the U.S. out, and I put this other one in, and that's the that's the number that only close friends and my family have to get.
I got that number.
Well, I gave
got
it
that
to
number.
you. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. I gave it to Pat first, but
Yeah.
I get you got it though.
But he didn't call you.
No, Joe did.
I called you.
Joe called me. But
All
yeah,
right.
so that way people don't get a hold of me. And that way I can focus on my wife and take care of what I need to take care of.
Well, we've talked about some resources that relate to this in the past. On our episode on rest, we talked about some of these things that we might come up today. When you're thinking about resources to encourage people to not procrastinate, what are some of the things that come to your mind? I mean, I'll just say, I've already referenced it, but Jonathan Edwards' Procrastination or the Sin and Folly of Depending on Future Time is a must-read for everyone. You've got to read it, and hopefully I can find an online version for free that you guys can check out. But what are some books that you think would help people in this area? Because you're much better at this than I am.
I mean, I think another free resource that I'm hoping that we can get out at some point is that weekly schedule.
Okay, so right now you're recommending nothing.
I'm just saying, I'm hoping that. So be on the lookout for that because I want that to be. I think it's.
So
helpful.
can I get this now?
Not yet.
Okay, so there's nothing.
I haven't done it yet.
You're recommending nothing.
I've been
How
procrastinating.
about recommending something that they can use?
I'm just saying that you can look forward to it.
Okay, maybe.
You could possibly.
Possibly. All right, so why don't you get to real recommendations?
All right. Another recommendation is Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Yes, GTD, right.
Yeah. So you want to get that book. Another one, this one's a great one. What's Best Next? How
like
the
that
Gospel Transforms the Way You Get Things Done by Matthew Perman.
Yep.
You got to get that one. And another one you need to get is, was it Doing More Better? A Practical Guide to Productivity by Tim Challies.
Those are good.
Those
are
are
good.
three solid resources you can grab. Hopefully we'll be able to have that a free one, the Jonathan Edwards.
Okay,
one.
so let's say that they're total train wrecks when it comes to productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And what book should they read first? What if these are people that need to learn how to stop procrastinating and be more effective? What book should be first? What do you think?
I think actually Challies' book.
Really? Okay.
You know what? Getting Things Done by David Allen's fantastic. But what I like about Challies' book is, one, it's short. So if you're a procrastinator,
Yeah.
a short book's going to be good for you.
Right.
You'll be able to blow through it. But at the same time, he's also got in his book resources for you. He's got templates. He's got ideas. He's got kind of a laid out plan. And him and I have almost similar, but it is different. He uses different tools than I do. I think he uses Evernote and things like that.
A lot of Canadian tools, probably.
A lot,
because he is a Canadian tool.
Yeah. Oh,
what?
No, you did not.
What?
Stop.
No, I'm just saying that.
That's so bad.
What? I know Tim.
I know, but come on now.
What? I mean that in a good way.
There's no good way to
Sure.
say that. No, it is not.
A tool, an instrument of God's grace. That's pretty
And
good.
so that was really good. You brought that back around and saved yourself.
I love Tim Shelley's.
Yeah, and so Tim, his book is really practical. It is
So start there.
Start there.
Good.
Start there. From there, I think Matt's book.
Yeah.
Matt's book is the next place to go with What's Best Next, how the gospel transforms the way you get things done. Because we're not just doing things to get them done, but I think what he's talking about here is there's something behind it. And that's the glory of God.
He argues that it's not about efficiency, it's about effectiveness. That's what his argument is in that book. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I can read, I just don't do. So, I've read the book.
Yeah, so his book's been really efficient in your life.
But not effective. Man, we have a lot of growing to do. I have a lot of growing to do in this area.
Amen.
But the thing that that really grips me is that God has not promised us tomorrow.
Yeah.
So let's make the most of our time. The days are evil. The days may be very short. So let's make the most of our relationships, our work, our kids, our recreation, whatever we're doing. Let's make the most of that time and glorify God.
That's right.
Want to give a big thanks to Justin Bond of J Bond Media. That's his company. He's the guy that edits and engineers our show. That's why we sound good. Thanks to him. If you have any audio, video, photo needs, you should look up and hire J Bond Media.
Right.
They will get it done, and it will be done right. You're going to love it. So check that out.
You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Doc and Devo. You can on Facebook / Doctrine and Devotion. Also, you can head over to our website, doctrinedevotion.com, and click on the Contact Us page. You can fill out the form, send us your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions. We read them. We try to respond to everything. Guys, we get a lot of messages on all these platforms, and it's hard for us to kind of go through them. Like, we read them, and we categorize them, but it's hard for us to respond to everything. And so please continue to be patient with us as we seek to get back to
It lasted about a month. We were like, hey, we can respond to all of these. And then all of a sudden...
we're getting,
like a lot.
20-something a day. It's like, God, you can't keep that. Joe, how else can they be supporting us?
They can go. You guys can go to our store. That's one of the ways you can support us. We've got T-shirts. Did we get more in yet?
I have placed an order.
All right. So we're going to have triple XL, aren't we?
We are going to have triple XL. I've talked with my man Dustin over at Cloud City Merchandising. We're looking at ordering another round of shirts, more than I actually thought we were going to do.
All right. Well, because we're almost sold out.
Yes, we are sold out at a number of different sizes. Right. But yeah, we've got limited stock.
That T-shirt by Anthony Benedetto is killer. You guys want one? It makes you look good, makes you feel good, and you know what? It might encourage you spiritually. So you should get that shirt. You can check out our stuff at the store. We have a link on our website. You can also go to our website and click through any of our links to books, anything to Amazon. Whether you buy that book or anything else, after you've clicked that link, that click will help us get a small percentage of anything that you buy. It doesn't increase your cost at all, but we get a referral fee, and that sort of a thing helps us to pay for all of our hosting and website and all of that. So that's a real big way that you can help us. But honestly, the thing that excites us the most is when you tell a friend.
Yes.
If you tell somebody about the podcast and encourage them to check it out, that means a lot. And so we're hearing from people. I was in New Zealand. I couldn't believe how many people listened to the podcast there. It was crazy. So spread the word and share the website. As Jimmy says,
sharing is caring.
That's what he says.
That's what I say.
I said that at the conference.
Did you really?
I did. I said, Fofo taught me that at the conference.
Sharing is caring.
I
Fofo
did.
taught me that.
I did.
Now hold on. At the conference, like
on stage
What?
during a panel discussion
No.
with Dr. Jim Renahan
No.
and Dr. James White.
No, you embarrass me.
And
Why'd you
Jim
do
Renahan
that?
was going, here's the thing. Jim Renahan was saying, hey, knock it off with the sharing the gospel. We don't share the gospel. We proclaim the gospel. We herald the gospel.
Amen.
And I hear what he's saying, right? It's really good. And I go, no, sharing's good, man. Sharing is caring. Fofo taught me that. I said it right on the stage.
And did people actually get that?
Oh, everyone's like, Fofo! They all knew.
Gosh. How bad did you feel? Like in front of two men, brilliant men, like Dr. James White,
Right.
and Dr. Renahan,
Right.
and you say the words, "Fofo taught me that."
Oh, I felt amazing because they ain't got the Fofo. They're going to get the Fofo.
I bet you they're just sitting there like, "What the heck?
Who's Fofo?
What? Who's this Joe Thorne?"
I've never been introduced to Fofo before. They're about to be.
All right, we got Fresh Pod every Monday and Thursdays. Well, check back soon.
Later.
Later.